Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another session of Resolve It in 30. My name is Yael Totcher, and I'm joined today by my colleagues Rafael Cruz, our Member Services Director, and Javier Suarez, our President of Strategic Partnerships. Today, we will be joined by Esther Alvarez from A&I Security. Just a few things before we start. Please remember to mute your microphones and use your chat. We will have an interesting conversation with an introduction, questions and answers, and lots of technical information for you guys to enjoy. Also, very important, we are proud sponsored by Damega, who have great packaging for all of your advertising needs. So if you have any questions, please contact them directly at 215-426-1900. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Esther Alvarez, and I would like to make point that she and her husband, Raymond Alvarez, are proud graduates of our first Latinx Accelerate cohort, and they were recently featured during MedWeek. So we would like to give them a big round of applause, and I leave you in wonderful hands with Esther. Esther, take it away.
Thank you, Diane. I first want to let me thank the Chamber for giving A&I this opportunity to present a short presentation on how a small business owner like ourselves can protect our most valuable possession, like our employees, our property, and our reputation in times of civil unrest. The first question that you must ask yourself when considering how to protect your business before, during, and after a civil unrest that brings looting is, do we hire professional security staff like A&I, or do we do it ourselves? To do it ourselves, you have to take on a role of a security director. They then make a risk assessment of your property, followed by the approach you will take and the action that follows. As a security director, if you decide not to hire a security staff, it will now be your responsibility to discourage protesters not to stop them from looting in your property. That's the police's job. Okay, so the way that you can accomplish that is to take the adequate protections on site. That is your property, and to ensure that when you take those precautions, you are also protecting yourself legally in the event an incident involving yourself or any one of your staff ends up in court. And we'll talk briefly about those measures in a bit. Ultimately, you have to decide what type of budget you will allocate to protecting your business when planning and making these preparations. You have to ask yourself, what would be the most effective approach? Do I hire a security company such as A&I, or do I have the resources and time to make the necessary arrangements? The time to assess my property for risk and the time for the planning that's required. To make a risk assessment of your property, you must first learn as much as possible about the protesters. This in law enforcement field is called intelligence gathering. It consists of various ways we already find information on a daily basis by viewing videos online, or practically all of us know how to get on social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram to find anyone we're looking for. So finding protest warning or the protesters' strategies can easily be found there as well. But be leery of fake information, because some of these posts that as well to deter the law enforcement, they might put up that they're going to be somewhere and not be there. You can also use apps that are downloadable on your iPhone or the Androids, such as the Citizens app, Police Scans. These apps give you real time and updates and can help in the surveillance intelligence gathering phase. If you really have the time, you can also conduct your own surveillance on days leading up to the protests, which is when the protesters will begin their own intelligence gathering of your property. Just be aware and look for the odd behaviors from foot traffic, even vehicles that may circle your property, taking pictures and notes. Now that you have all that information, what do you do with it in a planning phase? If you just got caught up in a protest or just learned that looting is heading in your direction, do you send your employees home with no advance notice? That can actually be an advantage in the event you have protest sympathizers on your staff to prevent sabotage opportunity. But if for whatever reason you and your staff got caught up in the middle of a protest, we caution you to keep yourself and your staff calm, whether or not your intelligence gathering reveal the protesters are a violent group or not. Don't argue with protesters. Instead, we urge you to instruct your staff to deflect. Say things like, I hear you, and I can understand why you're upset, but destroying your own community is not the answer. Would a high or low visibility protection plan have prevented getting caught up in the protest? What is a high visibility protection? It is a protection plan that most corporate organizations would take simply because they can afford it without question. They can afford to hire a big name security company at a moment's notice, but don't be discouraged. Even small businesses like ours can afford security by hiring A&I. We're affordable. We specialize in these circumstances. High visibility also means having the budget to fence up your property, add additional lighting, installing high-tech cameras, and motion sensors. What is a low visibility protection? It's a methodical and disciplined approach that only requires the time and effort and will give you the best case scenario on a site and in court. These raises the legal questions and protect yourself and ensure that these steps on the low visibility approach are taken while you record them with your cell phone. That is, record while you mark your property lines with caution tape. Record while you post a no trespass sign with it. The option also exists to board up your windows and doors. Finally, make your property less attractive by removing objects and receptacles that can be used as projectiles or places to start fire. These next two videos will demonstrate some of these concerns. Where would you have seen this same object in your intelligence gathering stage? The answer is protesters conducting their own surveillance on your property while skateboarding by your property. Does high visibility or low visibility change the outcome here? If A&I Security's officers were posted at the entrance, there's a good chance that it does prevent looting because where there's a security presence, looters are known not to take chances where there is no need to. They just move on to the next easiest target. I think we can all agree that either approach you take, whether low or high, is better than no approach. So the first final step is to take actions on your decision and assessing your property's strength and vulnerabilities. When you create your plan, most of these strengths are associated with the ability to go with a high visibility approach. For example, hiring a security, installing all high-tech bells and whistles, and having a property that is isolated or sitting on some high position. Small business like ours are likely more susceptible and vulnerabilities, such as a lack of setbacks from the street and having multiple routes in and out of our location. So getting and implementing policies and the rules that address these vulnerabilities will help mitigate losses. Conducting our surveillance and risk assessment will help you decide to keep your business closed or open, or creating a policy that if you remain open determines who speaks to the media. The last thing you need, should something go wrong that can impact your business and reputation, is an employee quoted saying the wrong thing.
Okay, thank you, Esther. I see there were some questions that Ray was answering in the chat, but I'm going to read it out so that maybe you can let it out. So Joe asked, is there a way that retail sales can board up their windows quickly, like in a moment's notice? You know, the looters are coming. What do you do as a store to protect yourself quickly and safely?
Yeah, you can put up the boards. A lot of businesses put up, they have the gates that roll down. I mean, if you don't have that in the outside, I would advise that you try and put something out from the indoor, the inside, so that you can protect the glass or anything that they're trying to throw into your business.
And as a store owner, sometimes these things happen without a moment's notice. And you said, you know, don't confront. So in your professional opinion, okay, you weren't able to hire security, but you have people approaching your store and breaking in. Do you instruct your employees to exit quickly? Do you go into the back room? What would you recommend for people's safety if there was no time to prevent anything up ahead of time?
I think as a business owners, we should all have an escape plan, and we shouldn't wait for that moment. We would try and get everyone to a safe room where, you know, safety first for our employees, right? I mean, all that other stuff can be replaced. A life can't.
Correct. And when you guys are hired, do you go over with the store owner about this sort of stuff? Do you help them plan an escape route? Do
Yes.
you like how do you prepare them once they've hired you? Okay, we have
Yes.
A&I, that's great, but what is the next step?
Well, normally when we get called in for a job, we like to go in. I mean, and we like to look at the surroundings first of all. We like to see how everything is set up so that we can give our opinion and say, hey, I don't think, I think that you should remove this from here because this is so easy to someone to grab and hit one of your employees with it, or break a window if you have one of those businesses that have like the glass that sometimes is not the professional installed one, but sort of to deter people from hurting you, you know, grabbing
Right.
you or whatever. There's like a barrier. But in reality, if someone grabs a brick or something and they throw it at it, it shatters, it breaks, it can hurt you. So we do a thorough assessment of it, of the area. And sometimes folks are like, oh my God, I never thought of this. You know,
Right.
some people don't even have an escape plan, even if there's a fire in the front of the business. You know,
Right.
some people are so worried about people breaking in through the back that they never thought about, hey, maybe we should have a different lock or a different system on that door that's easily accessible to get out of the building.
So A&I does a full comprehensive evaluation of a storefront to help our business owners know not only how to protect themselves if somebody's coming, how to get out in case of a fire, other types of attacks, that all sorts of. So you guys offer the full package,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
And I know a lot of storefronts, one of their questions are going to be, can they afford you? That's a lot of things. That storefronts don't hire security because they're worried about price. Do you guys work with them? With it, like, how do you guys go about helping them when they're in that sort of a need?
yeah. It's nice to think about making money, but we also are a small business. So
Right.
we also think about small businesses' pockets. They can't really go out there and afford to get an assessment from someone else. We're very reasonable, and we understand because we are a small business. We also struggle.
Right.
So,
So you give it that one-on-one feel, that mom and pop feel.
and just because we don't charge these high prices, we are very experienced. Okay, so it's not like you're getting a lower rate because we don't know what we're doing. Trust me, we know what we're doing.
Oh, I trust you. I know you guys. You guys are wonderful. So is there any other question in the chat? It looks like Joe has a question. Does A&I provide security assessments to businesses? Might insurance companies give businesses breaks on insurance premiums for using your services, similar to having a security system? So in other words, will this help bring down their premiums by having a security system?
Yes, because it's part of your security. And they see,
So
that you're protecting your business.
So how many years combined do you guys have experience? I know that your husband has been in law enforcement for a while, and I know you're a family-owned business. So how many years total experience are you bringing to all our storefront out there who would like to contact you and talk to you guys about services?
16 years of services.
And what is the best way for anybody to get in touch with you? Maybe Ray can help us input your contact information in the chat so everybody can see it, but if you could share it also, Esther?
Sure. That number is 267 3. I'm sorry, hold on. I'm confusing it with my cell numbers. Yes.
We get lots of calls that way, Esther.
267 549 9882.
I have a question.
Please, Cecilia.
So what are the legal, what's the legal, I'm trying to think of the right word, but, you know, I have a small business and I have a brick and mortar store. And I do have a license to carry. So, and if someone's trying to break into the store, am I in my own right under the law able to fire upon or an intruder, kind of like similar to like a home intruder? You know, I'm in I don't know what's the, and I'm sorry I'm not phrasing it really eloquently, but
well, if you're being attacked, I mean, and that's your only means of protection, and you're licensed to carry.
It would be considered self-defense. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for a lawyer.
Mr. Joe Reyes.
No, just saying that's a good question for a lawyer, I think.
I would think so as well.
Yes. Yeah, Esther can give us advice on security, but when it comes to that sort of stuff, I think we would need another Resolve It in 30 for legal questions regarding self-defense.
So Esther, I do have a question. Apart from from the stores, because we still have some time, do you guys do any other types of services? I don't know, private investigation probably, or some other. You do? Okay, can you talk us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we've done private investigation for lawyers, workman comp cases, auto accidents, the slip and falls where people are saying that they're so hurt, but then it's, people don't realize that social media, you find everything there. I mean, you see folks, I mean, that say they were hurt and then provide the attorneys with all these documentation of the date of the injury, and the injury might have been Thursday, but Saturday they're all over social media at a club dancing and showing with their friends. So we have helped. We do servicing for lawyers. What else? Private investigation. We do servicing for private law firms. And the security and the assessment.
Do you sell any products?
No.
about training courses for self-defense?
Well, we do train our staff, and we have training that we can help folks with self-defense.
Any firearms training?
No. We do safety care.
Okay, well, thank you so much for all of that information. I see that Raymond has posted your contact information at the bottom. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Esther at A&I to answer all of your security questions and see about an assessment. So Esther, again, thank you so much for being with us today. And on behalf of the Chamber, we thank you for that. And once again, we would like to thank our sponsor, La Mega. And remember, reach out to them for all of your advertising needs at 215-426-1900 and get started today with all of that. And our upcoming events, please be sure to let everybody know we have a new member orientation coming up October 29th at noon. Next Friday, we have our second part of the PA Penny program. There's open enrollment, so join us if you want to learn more about that. And of course, our YPN conference, which is November 16th through the 19th, and information and times and speakers are on our website. So I invite you to check us out there. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at info@philahispanicchamber.org. And we thank you so much for being with us once again here on Resolve It in 30.